Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. If I could have some silence. Shh. And we're going to have the posting of the colors. Everyone, please stand.
One step to the rear, march. Pose. Present arms. Order, arms. Right, base. Forward, march.
Any persons having anything to do before the Honorable Robert B. Collings, Magistrate Judge of the United States District Court for the District of Massachusetts, now holden in Gloucester, in and for the District of Massachusetts, may draw near, give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the United States of America in this honorable court. Court is now in session.
And now we're going to have the national anthem, which will be sung by Alessandro Schock and Liliana DiMercurio, who are in the 7th grade at O'Malley Innovation Middle School.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Everyone can please be seated. And now we're going to have some welcome remarks from Mayor Gregory Verga, who is the mayor of the city of Gloucester.
Good morning. I'm truly honored to welcome you on behalf of the City of Gloucester to today's naturalization ceremony, We're delighted to host this meaningful ceremony in our historic city. Thank you, Congressman Moulton, USCIS Office of Citizenship, Partnership, and Engagement Chief Eva Malona, and USCIS Boston District Director Dennis Reardon for joining us today. And thank you, Magistrate Judge Collins, for presiding over today's ceremony. I also want to recognize former Mayor Bruce Toby and the Gloucester 400 Plus organization for working to make the ceremony happen in Gloucester. Today is a momentous occasion for each of you, as well as your families and your loved ones. We're thrilled to be here to celebrate this milestone with you. As you may know, Gloucester is commemorating our 400th anniversary this year, and we have spent the last 9 months reflecting on our long history, rich culture, and bright future. This past year has been an opportunity for each of us to learn more about our community's heritage and to see how far we have come as a city since the founding in 1623. We celebrated our incredible contributions of our past, present, and future residents and achieved a greater understanding of the important influences immigrants have had in an evolving in the success of our community. In the United States, most of us are children of immigrants. My mother's grandparents came here from the Azores in the 1890s. My father's parents arrived here from Sicily in 1912. As they began their lives as new citizens, I'm sure that they could not have imagined that their son would one day serve in the Massachusetts legislature and their grandson would be mayor. Gloucester is fortunate to be home to a variety of nationalities, ethnicities, and cultures, and over the past year, we have prioritized highlighting all of these unique characteristics within our city. Today, you will receive a memento of your time here in Gloucester. Later in the ceremony, you will receive a special medal that was cast in honor of our 400th anniversary. It is our hope that you will look at this medal and remember this beautiful day here at Stage 4 Park. It is a privilege to host you here today and bear witness to this ceremony as you achieve U.S. citizenship. I wish the best for you, the lives you will build as Americans, and all that you may achieve for yourselves, and as you pave the way for your children and grandchildren. Again, congratulations.
Good afternoon. My name is Shanita Tucker. I am the Field Office Director for the USCIS office in Lawrence, where all of you got interviewed. I am pleased to represent the Department of Homeland Security, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services at these proceedings today. Your Honor, there are 96 applicants for naturalization present today who wish to change their names as part of the naturalization process. The government has investigated the reasons for these changes and interposes no objections. I respectfully move that all 96 name changes be allowed.
That motion is granted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, there are 97 applicants for naturalization present today. Each applicant has been duly examined under the provisions of the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1952 as amended. Each has been found well qualified for United States citizenship. At this time, Your Honor, I respectfully move that the oath of allegiance be administered to all 97 applicants, thus bestowing upon them one of our nation's highest honors, United States citizenship.
That motion is allowed, and I'd ask the clerk to please administer the oath.
Thank you, Your Honor. Applicants, if you can please rise. And if you could raise your right hand, inserting your name after the pronoun I. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state or sovereignty, of whom or of which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, domestic and foreign, that I will bear true faith and allegiance of the same that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. You may be seated.
Well, good morning and welcome. Let me be the first to officially congratulate you on becoming citizens of the United States. I was going to say that you should give yourselves a hand, but you already did. So I think that's just great. My remarks are going to be shorter than they usually are because we have two prominent speakers who are going to follow me, and I know we all want to hear what their remarks are. I would only emphasize this, that as citizens, you have undertaken obligations, the obligations of citizenship, and they're basically obligations to participate in the government of this country. Well, how do you do that? First of all, you vote. This is a democracy. It depends on the willingness of the people to be informed on the issues and to cast their ballots expressing their choices, not only as to persons who would serve them, but also on important issues that come before you on the ballot. It's very important, and I would ask that you take that responsibility of citizenship very seriously. It's kind of silly to say, but we absolutely have to have people come and vote in order to have an election. If no one came, there'd be no election. So it's very, very important that you participate in the affairs of this country by first voting. Secondly, another responsibility of citizenship is one that's a lot closer to the work that I do as a judge, and that is to sit on juries. It's interesting that in the Declaration of Independence, one of the things that the colonists were complaining about was King George was depriving the colonists of trial by jury. And it was specifically written in the Declaration that that was a grievance that the colonists wanted to redress by declaring their independence. Now, I'll grant you a jury duty is not always convenient. In fact, it's seldom convenient. And if you get a summons in the mail from either the federal court or from the state court telling you to come to jury service, I will certainly grant you, 5 minutes of, It's perfectly understandable. We know that it interrupts your daily lives, your employment, your care of your family members. But what I would ask that you do is after that 5 minutes, and after you've got all the groaning out, that you look at it as an opportunity, again, to perform an obligation of citizens. Jury service is very important. No one can be convicted of a serious crime in this country unless 12 jurors come into court, they know nothing about the case, and they come into court, they hear the evidence, and they call it as they see it. And I will tell you that although they very well may have had reservations about having to come to jury duty. I've been a judge since 1982, and let me tell you that the people that come to sit on juries take it very, very seriously. They may not want to be there, but once they are there, they realize what an important responsibility it is, and they perform that service with dedication. And there have been very, very few times when I presided over a jury trial that I've disagreed with the jury's verdict. Now, obviously, like elections, you need people to vote in elections. We need citizens to come and sit on juries. Now, I know it's not voluntary, and we issue summonses to get you there, but you really do need to take it very seriously, as all the jurors have done that I've seen, because it's an important part of making our government work. You know, there may be a lot of problems with the justice system in this country, but one of my views is that the reason it retains the credibility it has is because the most important decisions affecting individual people's lives are made by fellow citizens who come in for jury duty. So please, when you get that summons, please respond appropriately. Let me put it that way. I'm not going to go on any longer because I know we want to hear the other speakers, but let me just tell you this story, which I think illustrates the point. When the delegates were coming out of the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia in 1787, a woman is reported to have come up to Benjamin Franklin and said, well, doctor, what have we got? A monarchy or a republic? And Franklin is said to have replied, a republic if you can keep it. And the words, if you can keep it, signified exactly what I'm talking about, that the survival of the country depends on the participation of citizens, the support of citizens in order to survive. You know, we all believe we have a strong country. We've had great challenges in the past, a civil war in the 19th century, the wars that occupied the 20th century, and the United States has remained strong. But let me tell you that the fabric of government is fragile. There are examples in history of countries with very, very strong constitutions, written constitutions, that have unfortunately ended up as totalitarian states. An example is the Cuban Constitution of 1940, a very, very liberal, democratic constitution. And of course, Cuba is now a totalitarian state. The Constitution of Germany, before Hitler came to power, again, was a fine constitution with many rights for its citizens, a very liberal constitution, and we all know what happened in Germany. And a respected judge put it this way a couple of years, well, actually in the last century, that the spirit of liberty lives in the hearts of men and women. And when it dies there, no constitution, no written piece of paper can save it. So I just remind you of that and remind you of Franklin's remark, a republic if you can keep it. And so the only charge I would give you today is to help us keep this republic. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to introduce the next speakers. The first is Eva A. Malona, Chief of the Office of Citizenship, Partnership, and Engagement, External Affairs Director at the USCIS. Prior to having this job, she had served as DHS's Assistant Secretary for Partnership and Engagement since May of 2021. In this role, she served as the Secretary's primary advisor on the impact of the department's policies, regulations, processes, and actions on state, local, tribal, territorial governments, elected official, non-governmental organizations, the private sector, and the academic community, ensuring a unified approach to external engagement. Before that, she was executive officer, president and chief executive officer of the Massachusetts Immigrant and Refugee Advocacy Coalition, the largest organization in New England, promoting and enhancing integration for new Americans. She's a native of Albania, where she practiced civil and criminal law before becoming the youngest district judge ever appointed to Tirana's District Court in Albania. After immigrating to the United States, she directed the Refugee Resettlement Program in central Massachusetts. She served on the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights and Immigrants under 4 governors, the Attorney General's Council for New Americans, and the Advisory Board for the Boston Mayor's Office. She's a graduate of Clark University in Worcester, where she obtained a master's in political science, and she also holds a law degree from the University of Tirana. So I introduce to you Eva A. Maloney.
Thank you so much, Your
Got a
Honor,
microphone. Good, okay.
for your powerful words and for the kind and generous introduction. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. That's better. It is really a privilege and an honor to be here with all of you. So thank you, Honorable Judge, Congressman Moulton, Mayor Verga, and my colleagues at the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the field director, Shanita Tucker, and the amazing colleagues who take all this work and put their hearts and soul in making new Americans. So my gratitude, colleagues. Okay, very close and very loud. Can you hear me okay? Sorry. So it is really a special day, and we have 3 big celebrations. One is celebrating you, and allow me to be the second judge, right? The second, but the first from the administration to really congratulate you on your big achievement, my fellow Americans. We are also privileged to be in Gloucester. Today is the 400th anniversary of Gloucester, so happy birthday, Gloucester. And also, it's Constitution Week. On September 17th, 1787, which is 236 years ago this week, the Founding Fathers signed the U.S. Constitution. For over 200 years, the Constitution has served as the supreme law of the land. And as I am sure you, as new citizens of this great country, along with the Bill of Rights and other amendments, defined and guarantee our rights. Each September 18th, the 22nd, we recognize Constitution Week. During this time, USCIS encouraged all Americans to reflect on the rights and responsibilities of citizenship and what it means to be a U.S. citizen of the greatest nation on earth. And of course, you know, each of you today is to be celebrated for your sacrifices, for your work, and all that you brought to this great moment for you and for our country. I think we should take a moment and give you all a well-deserved round of applause. Congratulations. Congratulations. As an immigrant myself, as a naturalized citizen, I'm keenly aware of the path that you have traveled to arrive at this time and at this place. You have completed a long journey for which I am proud and commend you. Your journey as a U.S. citizen of this great nation begins now as mine did over 20 years ago when I naturalized. I grew up in Albania, a small country in Eastern Europe under a communist regime. People did not have real freedom, and even after the dictatorship fell in 1985. I wanted to live in a place where freedom was real and change was possible. I believed that there was no country in the world where I found greater freedom and greater opportunity. So I came to the United States. It was a choice that changed the course of my life. I proudly became an American by choice, and I could not have dreamed that I, a naturalized citizen like you, could have the honor of a lifetime to serve our country and serve this administration. I would like to use my example to encourage you to dream big and explore all the limitless opportunities that are America. As you start your journey as citizens of this great nation, you have the opportunity to do your part in helping America realize its great potential. I ask that you devote the same energy and dedication that it took to reach this point today to make a positive contribution to our country. Register to vote and exercise this important right. Get involved in your children's school, in your local community, serve in the armed forces, operate a business, or run for public office. The possibilities are limitless. Your talents and contribution will uphold America's tradition of providing opportunities for generations to come. We are a nation unlike any other, individuals from across the globe bound by common belief in human freedom. We are a nation seeking justice for all. Just as you strive to be better than yesterday, so will America, and you will be part of that story. On behalf of President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas, I extend the heartfelt congratulations and best wishes for a full and wonderful life as a U.S. citizen of the United States of America. And thank you for the privilege for allowing me to be part of this ceremony. Thank you.
No, I guess I have a microphone up here. Oh, this doesn't? Yeah, I know. They told me this was just for show. It gives me great pleasure now to introduce our next speaker, Congressman Seth Moulton, who is the congressman for this district in Essex County and part of Middlesex County. He's a Democrat representing Massachusetts' 6th Congressional District, a Marine Corps veteran who served 4 infantry combat tours in Iraq. Congressman Moulton currently sits on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, the House Armed Services Committee, where he's ranking member on the Subcommittee on Strategic Forces, and the House Select Committee on the Strategic Competition between the U.S. and the Chinese Communist Party. Congressman Moulton co-authored the bill to designate 988 as the National Suicide and Mental Health Lifeline with a veteran across the aisle. Since going live nationwide July 2022, the hotline has saved a record number of lives, is a national leader on mental health, national security, veterans, and high-speed rail. Congressman Moulton earned degrees in physics, business, and public administration from Harvard. He lives in Salem, Massachusetts with his wife and 2 daughters. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce my congressman and the congressman from this district, Seth Moulton.
Judge, thank you very much. I hope you will never have to be my judge. But I'm proud to represent you. And I'm proud to represent all of you. What a beautiful day. As I look out on all of you, I not only see new Americans, I see America. You are America. This is what America is always about and always has been. You truly make America great. We are not a country of shared origin, of shared religion, of shared race. We are a country of a shared dream. A dream that Americans have shared and aspiring Americans have shared throughout generations. It's the same dream that drove my ancestors to these shores just a bit north of here a long time ago. My father's family came to Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1635. Now, my mother's side of the family was a bit later. They didn't arrive until 1637. And guess what? They didn't come because life back home was great. They didn't get on a rickety wooden ship to drift across the Atlantic for months on end because they thought that would be a fun vacation. They came here as refugees as so many of you have, seeking a better life, better opportunity, better chances for your families. And perhaps better values, better principles that we stand for here in America. Of course, to recognize that dream, to make it reality, takes work. It takes service. Some of the things that the judge talked about that we may ask you to do. I've helped in recent years a lot of the translators that I worked with in Iraq come to America, and I'm amazed by the number who, after everything they did for us overseas, want to serve the country again here. Not just becoming parts of our community, but becoming parts of our armed services, even putting their lives on the line for America. Now, the reality is that back in the day when my ancestors came here, it was a lot easier to immigrate to America than it is now. You've had a lot of challenges. You've had to do a lot of things to get to this point. It's made you exceptionally qualified to be American citizens. Dare I say, more qualified than some of us who've been here for a long time. And that's part of why we need your help. I don't know if you've seen the news in Washington this week, but I came home last night from a sad state of affairs in our government. I love America, I love our government, but I'm not proud of what we did or failed to do in Congress this week. And the point is that America has never been a country that always gets it right. It's a country that dreams that someday we might. And so being a part of that dream that brought you to these shores, is also being a part of making that dream a reality for the future. We do need your help here in America. And that's part of why I'm so glad that you're here. And so I'll leave you with the immortal words of a Massachusetts resident from an immigrant family himself who became President of the United States, John F. Kennedy. And in his inaugural address, probably the most famous words he ever uttered were these: ask not what America can do for you, or ask not what your country, now your country, can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. Welcome to America.
We have one more speaker who's going to be with us virtually, and that's the President of the United States, the Honorable Joseph R. Biden. So I would ask the technicians if you would please run the tape. Thank you.
Welcome, my fellow Americans. First and foremost, I want to thank you for choosing us believing that America is worthy of your aspirations. Every immigrant comes from America from different circumstances and for different reasons. But you all have one thing in common: courage. The courage it takes to sacrifice and make this journey. The courage to leave your homes, your lives, your loved ones, and come to a nation that is more than just a place, but rather an idea. An idea that where everyone is created equal and deserves to be treated equally. The idea that we have as a nation, and we can define America in one word: possibilities. Possibilities since its founding. That very idea has been nurtured, enriched, and advanced by the contributions, sacrifices, and dreams of immigrants like you and immigrants like my own ancestors from Ireland, and like generations of our fellow Americans. And today, you've earned a new title equal to that of an American president, the title I'm most proud of: citizen of the United States of America. I look forward to standing with you as you embrace your new rights and responsibilities, as you build your lives and legacies here, as generations have done before you in this great nation of immigrants. So welcome, my friends. Welcome, my fellow Americans. Welcome. May God bless you all, and may God bless the United States of America.
All right, if everyone could please stand as Madison Guernsey, who is the executive officer of the Gloucester High School Junior ROTC, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sorry. Yes, Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pose. Right face. Forward march.
Well, I want to thank the Gloucester High School Junior ROTC Color Guard for enhancing our proceedings here today, both at the beginning and just now. This ceremony is something that's organized by a number of different groups. Obviously, the U.S. District Court gets involved, and other groups, as you heard, have participated. And one of the things that we do normally is have some children lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I did a program in Salem last Wednesday and then doing it today, and of course all the children are in school. So we didn't have any children. So what we did in Salem and what the clerk did today was to find a member of the military who was able to do it. And we did that, except that we didn't realize that it had already been arranged that it was going to be done by someone else. But I want to acknowledge the member of the military, Leonard Perry of the Marine Corps, stationed at Cherry Point, North Carolina. He lives in Amesbury, and his wife is from the Philippines, as was naturalized today. So, Mr. Perrig, thank you very much. I'm sorry we didn't need your services. Thank you for volunteering. We really appreciate it. Okay, Ms. McLaughlin.